When most people talk about trust in romantic relationships, they think of it as a feeling, something fragile, spontaneous, maybe even delicate. You hear phrases like, I just feel like I could trust them, as if trust is some magical process that appears on its own. Niklas Luhmann, a German sociologist who studied systems, disagrees. In his 1979 book, Trust and Power, he says, trust is not a feeling. It's a cognitive tool, a strategy, a way to survive a future that is completely uncertain. Think about it. Every romantic relationship is a collision of two unpredictable minds. Your partner has freedom. They can change, they can leave, and they can hurt you, intentionally or accidentally. And every relationship is, at its core, a constant negotiation with that uncertainty. Luhmann's insight is simple but radical. Trust is what makes love livable in the face of uncertainty, not by eliminating risk, but by making it bearable. And trust is not convenience. It's also not confidence, because confidence is easy. Think about it. It's passive. It's the expectation that things will continue because they always have. So in confidence, you rely on routines, on patterns, and on history. You don't even have to think about it. But real trust, that's active. Trust begins the moment you take a step forward, knowing your partner could fail you, when you reveal something vulnerable, something meaningful, something dangerous. And affection alone does not build intimacy. I'll repeat that. Affection alone does not build intimacy. A lot of people are going to be shocked because of what I've just said. We talk about this. But shared risk does. Shared risk creates intimacy. And here's the brutal truth. You can't truly trust another person until you trust yourself. Luhmann is clear about this. Trust is as much about the truster as it is about the person being trusted. Internal stability, resilience, the ability to survive disappointment without collapse. These are all prerequisites for personal trust. If you're fragile, if you fear your own inability to handle conflict, loss, or pain, you will guard yourself. You will control, you will distance, not because your partner is untrustworthy, but because you fear your own vulnerability. The capacity to love is proportional to your capacity to withstand loss. But distrust works differently. Distrust is not irrational, and it's not the opposite of trust. Okay, pay attention. Distrust is a strategy, but it comes at a cost. The distrust narrows your world. Every pause is a message. Every tone change, every ambiguous action becomes data to interpret. Your nervous system becomes an overclocked surveillance machine. It burns mental energy, attention, bandwidth, all to protect you from imagined danger. Distrust saves you from some risks, but it drains intimacy, freedom, and mental space. Now, trust, by contrast, is efficient. It simplifies the world. It frees you to live. So we have to remember that trust also is not blind, right? It's shaped by the way someone presents themselves, socially and emotionally. And Luhmann emphasizes that trust is exchanged. It's not simply granted. Your partner evaluates you, consciously or unconsciously, based on how coherent, predictable, and honest your behavior is. Things like inconsistent signals, strategic self-presentation, or internal conflict, these things destabilize trust. You've heard the common fact or phrase that familiarity breeds trust, but not in the cliche sense of comfort or routine. True familiarity is structural. It's knowing how someone reacts to stress, embarrassment, temptation, or frustration. It's knowing their patterns, their rhythms. Predictability is intimacy, not passion. Predictability, The ability to anticipate reactions reduces uncertainty, and that is the soil in which trust grows. Now consider power for a moment. Every relationship contains asymmetries, right? One partner may love more, forgive faster, be more desired, or have greater freedom to leave. And power is not inherently abusive. Luhmann defines it as the ability to influence outcomes while maintaining the relationship. So these imbalances are inevitable. When trust is strong, power rests quietly. But when the trust falters, power rushes in, right? Persuasion, withdrawal, reassurance seeking, manipulation, control. Behavior may be stabilized, but the connection suffers. Now, power regulates actions, but trust regulates motives. This is very key. A relationship run on power alone becomes compliant rather than connected. You get cooperation, but not devotion. So how do couples rebuild trust once it fractures? And it's not with grand declarations, not with dramatic speeches, not with emotional overloading. Luhmann warns more words, more possibilities equal more uncertainty. But remember, trust returns through micro-stability. It's a small, consistent actions. It's keeping promises. It's clarity instead of ambiguity. It's repeated patterns that allow the nervous system to relax. And safety is restored not through words, but through structure, right? There's another layer that most discussions about love ignore. It's the truster's internal structure. Trust isn't only about your partner or the relationship, it begins inside you. If you have internal resilience, self-confidence, and composure, you can risk vulnerability, right? If disappointment, embarrassment, or conflict doesn't shatter your sense of self, you can trust. But if failure or betrayal threatens your identity, then trust collapses. That's why some people trust easily, while others cannot relax, even with a partner who has done nothing wrong. It's not the partner. It's the internal capacity of the truster. And trust also carries social risk. You expose yourself not just to emotional hurt, but to the embarrassment, the loss of status, and appearing naive or foolish. And the courage to trust depends on your comfort with that exposure, right? So the more stable your self-presentation, the more coherent your inner self, the greater your capacity to extend trust. And familiarity, back to that word, plus consistent self-image, creates a reliable map in which trust can grow. So let's pull all this together, okay? So trust is what lets two human beings face the unknown future together. It reduces complexity, it frees mental bandwidth, it requires vulnerability, risk, and exposure. And trust depends on internal resilience, right? It's shaped by your self-presentation, by your predictability, and your repeated patterns of behavior. The other things, distrust, power, and confidence, they exist alongside trust, but they are not substitutes for it, right? Confidence is easy. It collapses under stress. Power can control actions, but it cannot generate willingness. And distrust may protect you, but it will also exhaust you. So trust is generated, it's not given. So the takeaway is simple. It may be uncomfortable and also liberating. Love is not about eliminating uncertainty. It's about constructing a system within yourself and within your relationship that allows uncertainty to be bearable. Learn your partner. Show yourself consistently. Choose vulnerability. A lot of people run from this. Build internal resilience and reduce complexity where you can, right? Trust is not something you feel. It is something you actively produce, cultivate, and sustain. Couples who understand this don't just stay together, they stay alive to each other. They build relationships where closeness remains possible, even when the future is unpredictable. And intimacy is not a gift, it's a system. And systems survive uncertainty not by avoiding risk, but by structuring it. So next time you think about trust, remember, it is a strategy, it's not a sentiment. And it's the foundation that lets love exist without collapsing under its own weight. It's the courage to be vulnerable, the patience to let patterns stabilize, and the discipline to cultivate internal stability. And it's the wisdom to understand when power is filling the space that trust once held. And finally, trust is not luck, trust is skill. And mastering it may be the most powerful thing you do for your relationships, for your life, and for your heart. Thank you for watching today's episode 85. If you found it useful, please share it with a friend. And I'd appreciate your comments and your feedback. I read every one of them. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.